大家让他掐。
好，我们要插播一个消息，有人要移车子，车牌号码是 EAB0001 Mercedes-Benz。对，可能要想办法，就是把车子移到正确的位置。原来是我们高大师的车子。OK， 好。不是 raffle ticket。
Our final keynote speaker is currently running for Lieutenant Governor of Idaho. In his 25 years in public service, he has been a senior advisor to presidential campaigns and a frequent media commentator. He has served in the White House as a deputy assistant to the Vice President for National Security Affairs. In 2014, he was elected chairman of Idaho Republican Party. Please welcome Mr. Steve Yates. Thank you.
各位爱台湾的朋友，大家好。This is where I pretend that I know as much as Mike Fonte does, but I don't. It's a great honor to be here in the Gaithersburg area. I graduated from Gaithersburg High School, and every once in a while I run into some classmates as I come through. But I feel a little strange talking with you today because 2 weeks ago I was in Taipei meeting with President Tsai and Premier Lai, and then here they are on video. And I came back, was very jet lagged, came here this week to DC area, had a wonderful lunch with some of my fellow Republicans, with Vice President Pence and a dinner with President Trump. And then yesterday had the pleasure of going back to the White House to see some friends. They seem to have redecorated a few things in the several years since I was there. And of course, because now I'm just an ordinary person and a tourist, I got my obligatory picture taken at the press secretary podium. And so I think I've now come full circle from being a DC native to now being a tourist. And now 2 weeks ago, trying to practice Mandarin to now trying to practice English. But it's a distinct pleasure to celebrate Lunar New Year with you. This is a special year for me. The first year that I ever celebrated Lunar New Year was exactly 30 years ago, in 1988, in the small harbor town of Chenggong on the east coast of Taiwan. I was at the time living in Taidong as a missionary, and so we took a nice bus ride along the coast. Buses in Taiwan are much safer now than they were then, and we had a little bit of a crazy driver, had beanlang coming out of his mouth. He seemed to curse at people as they got on and off of the bus. I didn't understand Taiwanese at the time, but I could kind of tell from the body language it wasn't happy talk. He was, but we had a wonderful, wonderful Lunar New Year at that time. Some of us being silly foreigners, we had a beautiful spread for the meal, but some of the other missionaries would like to dare the new folks about the exotic foods of what they were willing to eat and what they weren't willing to eat. I won the bet on being able to eat a pidan. The other guy couldn't handle it. I didn't like it, but I could handle it. But we had a great, great time. I will never ever forget, though, that I think the city of Taidong has one of the loudest, most exciting and interesting Yuan Xiaojie celebrations I have ever seen. And so if I hadn't experienced culture shock before, when I saw people walking down the roads with objects stuck through their cheeks and flailing themselves on their backs and doing all kinds of scary things that my son would think are very cool now. It was very, very different than growing up here in Gaithersburg. But I can only thank all of you and all of our many friends that we have back in Taiwan for the hospitality that is continuously extended to visitors. I was on the receiving end of many, many open doors that welcomed me in, always fed me. I think that there's something particularly special about the love language of Taiwan, which seems to begin with food. And we certainly benefited greatly from that. Now, I would like to share just a couple of things with you, just as thoughts for 2018. 2018 is a very, very important year for me because selfishly, I've done this incredibly foolish thing and decided to run for office. And so a lot of people get to have an opinion about me, and while they may have had an opinion about me before, now they get to express it. And that's a very humbling and scary thing to go through. I hope that some of you, whether it's yourselves or your next generation, you might encourage them to engage in the political process here. Many of you have next generations that have been raised here, and it's incredibly important that people with your point of view and your experiences in life engage in the political process. Of course, I'm a partisan Republican. This is not a partisan event, but I would strongly encourage you to consider one of the political parties, and after you've considered them, join the Republican Party. But I think that it's very, very important to be active and engaged. We're responsible for the government we have because we elect them. We have that freedom. People have fought and died for that freedom. Good people of goodwill engage on our behalf in trying to execute policy on behalf of our countries. And so whether it's friends and family in Taiwan exercising their freedom or friends and family as American citizens here engaging that freedom, it's incredibly, incredibly important. Now, I personally think that there are a couple of big challenges that we face in 2018, but also some great opportunities. As I listen to our president here in the United States talk about what his priorities are, I don't really care what anyone's personal opinion is of him. I look at what people deliver by way of results. And when I hear a leader of a country talk about putting the country first, reviving manufacturing, stimulating investment in jobs, frankly, I think Taiwan should have a Taiwan first policy, and America should have an America first policy. And we should acknowledge that China has a China first policy, and I aim to make sure that they don't get the better of either of us. And so I hope that all of us, no matter what you think of the distractions on television and everyone's personal feelings about politics, it is a good thing for people in the United States and in Taiwan to find ways to have more manufacturing, more investment, more jobs, and more collaboration between our two peoples and our economies. That's good for all of us. And I hope that 2018 is a year that we can do a lot of big things in that way. I've been blessed, given that everyone in the world wakes up wondering who the next Lieutenant Governor of Idaho is going to be. That's a joke. You can go ahead and laugh. It's a wonderful opportunity to serve the people of my state, but it turns out that Idaho has a special relationship with Taiwan. Taiwan is our third largest trade partner, just barely ahead of China. And we've been blessed to have some serious companies from Taiwan come and look at investment opportunities in our state. We've had everything from some biotech companies to leaders in the Internet of Things industry. Don't ask me to define what the Internet of Things industry is, but I hear it's important, and they're investing and working with our universities and doing great things in our state and our country. We need to be creative. We need to build a foundation at the grassroots to support the policies that we support in the United States and encourage the developments we want to see in Taiwan. In this new year, I wish you health, happiness, but I also implore you to all of us join together to work very hard to make sure that this is a year of progress for the United States, for Taiwan, and the values and freedoms that we hold dear. And with that, God bless you and have a happy, happy New Year.